What is up, guys? It's Fresh, back with another storytime video. I got more requests for this subreddit on the first video that I made, so here you go, another Entitled Parents. I hope you like it. Your disability traumatized my child. Quick backstory. I work at a fairly upscale steakhouse restaurant. I'm deaf and work in the kitchen, but sometimes when we're short-staffed and I'm not backed up or in the middle of something, I'll help carry stuff out to a table real quick. Alright, so yesterday we had 3 waiters call in sick and no one was able to cover for them. Mondays are usually slow anyway, so nobody was too worried about it. Until a huge party came in without reservations. It was 6 adults and 7 kids for one of the kids' birthday. Again, this is a nice steakhouse. Usually we get a lot of business types or date night couples, not children's birthday parties. The order comes in and everyone at the table gets steak, even the kids, and every kid got it well done. Whatever, we throw it all together and I help the waitress carry it out since no one else is free to help her. I put the last plate I have on the table in front of who happens to be the birthday girl. I see her asking me for something, so I do the universal gesture for being deaf and hurry off to let the waitress know they needed something at the table before going back to the kitchen. I do read lips and speak, but I don't go there with customers at work. Way easier if I just go find someone else to help them out instead. Usually it isn't a problem. Not 10 minutes later, my coworker is tapping on my shoulder trying to warn me ahead of time that the entitled mother had asked for the manager to complain that I had refused to get her daughter something when the entitled child asked me for it. I later found out that CW waitress colleague had tried to explain to them I was deaf in an attempt to save me from their wrath, but apparently the entitled child didn't know what that meant and got upset when it was explained to her. So they went from being pissed I ignored them to traumatized that I exist, I guess. Dumbass manager comes barreling into the kitchen talking faster than I can keep track of and drags me back out to this table. Entitled child is crying with entitled mom patting her back and kissing all over her as if her dog died while they were at the restaurant. Entitled mom starts talking angrily to dumbass manager. I still have no idea what exactly they were saying, but there was a lot of angry gesturing, nasty faces, and the kid was crying so hard. If my colleague hadn't warned me what this was about, I would have thought the kid was dying or something. Dumbass manager finally turns to face me and asks me to apologize. I assume I've read her lips wrong and ask her to repeat. No, she really does want me to apologize to these people. At this point, I'm really pissed off. You want me to apologize for being deaf? Manager, it was upsetting to them. Say you're sorry. Me, no way. Other tables are staring at us at this point, but I'm just not willing to go down this road. Entitled mom is talking again, but I still have no idea what she was saying at this point. She kept gesturing to her crying kid and jabbing a finger in my direction with an expression that would make Satan cringe on her face. DM, apologize now. Me, that's not going to happen. Dumbass manager is red-faced and looks like she might blow her top at any second, but there was no way I was apologizing to these people. If they had asked me to apologize for ignoring them or whatever, sure, who cares, but I'm not sorry I can't hear. Actually, I'm pretty thankful at this point. Entitled mom was getting a lot of dirty and annoyed looks, so I guess she wasn't sounding pleasant. I'm fed up with it, so I just head back to the kitchen before they can try to say anything else to me. I guess there was some heated conversation going on behind me. I looked back there before ducking into the kitchen, and entitled mom was standing up, possibly screaming in the manager's face. The dumbass manager ended up comping their meal and actually threatened to write me up for not apologizing to this crazy lady and her precious 8-year-old sheltered snowflake. I've had some interesting reactions from people when I have to let them know I can't hear, but this was on a whole other level. It's insane that such a meaningless interaction blew up into such a big ordeal supported by the manager's actions and involved asking an employee to apologize for a disability that they neither had control over nor had it inhibited any kind of service on behalf of the restaurant. She had gone to get the waitress, and yet the entitled mom is asking the restaurant and asking this employee to apologize for the disability that has apparently upset her daughter? How do you think that way? How does that thought go through your head? How are you upset by that? The entitled parents that haunted New Zealand. So this is a short one as I've had no experience with these people, but a week or two back there were these tourists that came to New Zealand, and they're some of the biggest entitled parents ever. They've put hair in their food to avoid paying, they've said their child hated the meal to avoid paying, they've rudely tried to trade their rentals, cars into a dealer for cars worth more, they've broken into hotel suites. It's crazy. One of my friends worked at a cafe they struck, and he told me he heard the kids cussing out staff members because they didn't have menus. They were so bad for the week and a half or so that they were here, the immigration authority deported them after charging them in court. I'm pretty sure everyone is happy they're gone. Now, folks, I know what you're thinking. This sounds super made up, but I thought so too. Until someone linked a news article about these people. It is unfortunately real, and I certainly invite you to check out the news story I left in the description if you want to learn more about this absolutely hellish couple. EP followed me around school to get my dog. I was in year 10, 15 years old at this point in time, and I own a beautiful Staffy Greyhound Cross who was about 2 years old. This parent was also my teaching assistant because I was really struggling with some mental issues and bullying. Entitled parent. Me and my daughter were walking past your house the other day. They were local, small, rural area. Your dog growled at us. I hope you and your mom are taking care of her. Me shook. Oh God, really? I'm so sorry. She's never done that before. Parent. Well, my daughter is an excellent dog trainer. She can train any dog, and your dog is so beautiful. How about we take her off your hands? You have enough on your plate with exams and your cats. Me, no, it's okay. I know what I'm doing. Entitled parent. My daughter was really keen on her, and I'm sure you wouldn't want to let her down. This was particularly evil because she knew how vulnerable I was mentally at that time. I would have done anything to get someone not to dislike me. Me, standing up for myself for the first time ever. No, honestly, you can't have her, Miss EP. She's my dog. Parent now huffing. Don't be so rude, RJ. My daughter does animal behavior in college. She turned that vicious dog into a good pet for our family. Plus, I already bought a bed and food for her. Me, I'm sorry she growled, but she's my dog still. I can take her to dog training myself if need be. This went on, and she even offered me 300 pounds for my dog, which I declined. I had a panic attack in the toilets and got sent home. Turned out when I told my mom about our dog growling that she'd seen a woman and girl trying to pull my dog over our gate by her collar, and my dog had been yelping because they were holding some of her scruff. Mom had gone out to confront them, but they shuffled away before she could get to the gate. My mom, being the legend she is, made sure I got a new assistant teacher, and entitled parent never spoke to me again. Dog Nancy is doing well and has never been aggressive towards people for the years I've had her. This just sounds like a bad infomercial to me. Have your latest dog heist been unsuccessful? Upset owners getting in the way? Well, try emotional manipulation. Just work with a vulnerable teen who owns a cute dog, and you're just a couple words away from a dog of your very own. Buy a bed and food beforehand. It'll make them even more uncomfortable saying no. That's right, your days of dog stealing are over with new emotional manipulation. But for real though, I can't even imagine how messed up this is. The woman should be fired for exploiting this position of power to try to get a girl to give her family a dog. What the hell? I didn't like the dog that much. I have an aunt that house sat for my grandparents, and when they came back, she sold their dog without their permission. They loved that dog. They never got the dog back. My aunt's reasoning was that the puppy played too roughly with her children. The dog did not bite anyone, and the only reason it was playing roughly was because it was a puppy. She never apologized, and we are still forced to talk to her. Even if the dog was in some way being aggressive to a kid, there are ways to take care of that dog outside of the house until the grandparents come back, but to sell someone else's pet and not think that's unreasonable? What the hell is wrong with you? Entitled parents and the pure joy of air travel. Oh boy, I have so many stories of entitled parents and people in general from my years working on an airplane. The following is the story of these two a-holes who put everyone else to shame. I understand air travel isn't fun. It's just not. Everyone holds some responsibility in this, airlines, employees, and passengers. I began my career as a flight attendant working for a regional carrier on the smaller jets, 37 to 50 passengers, 1 seat aisle, 2 seats. We were a feeder for a major airline, so we serviced smaller cities into major hubs. Most of the time, these were shorter flights, and I was always working alone in the cabin. This made it really hard to effectively handle situations with passengers as well as perform all of my duties. Everyone is pretty much boarded, and at the last minute, this couple and a baby rush onto the plane. You can just tell they're going to be jerks. You can practically smell the entitlement. Super rushed, yakking on their phones, ignoring my greeting except to glare at me like I'm such an inconvenience, well-dressed, etc. Entitled mom and entitled dad immediately get to work asserting their imagined authority. Entitled mom takes seat in the bulkhead on the two-seat side. Entitled dad's seat is right behind mom. Entitled dad, while still with his stupid Bluetooth headset, orders the passenger seated next to entitled mom to change seats so he can sit in the bulkhead row with mom. Just move. We have a kid. You need to move back here. The passenger was so stunned, and probably a normal, reasonable adult, he got up and moved. I needed to get the door shut, so I noticed what was going on, but couldn't really address it at the time. Normal procedure, just ask the person to move and offer to give up the better seat, or get your tickets ahead of time. Anyway, door shut and I do my other crap, and this couple is just commotion. Their crap is everywhere, loudly talking on their phones, nasty to everyone. I politely tell them they need to store their belongings as they cannot stay at their feet in a bulkhead. I get the, well, we don't have space, so what do you want us to do? We have a baby. It's your job. Do your job and find us a place to put our bags, and it has to be near us. Look, if you can't handle the responsibilities of storing your own junk and not having any underseat storage, then don't sit in the effing bulkhead, or board early, or you should have stayed in your original seat with storage. Just because you have a kid, the rules don't change. No one owes you anything. The poor infant is being handled like a rag doll. Neither of them is off the phone, and this becomes important. I inform entitled dad I will help him find space, but I have other stuff to do. Entitled dad complains and moans about me to whoever he is talking to on the phone. This flight attendant hates her job, etc. Finally, he sits down. I have made several announcements about electronic devices needing to be turned off. This was at the time when everything had to be completely off when the door was shut. Yes, I understand that people thought this was stupid. It doesn't change the fact it was a rule. The only thing accomplished by arguing is proving you are incapable of following a simpler request. After repeated requests to turn off their phones, I finish my duties, shut the flight deck door, and take my jump seat which faces the cabin. I can't see or hear entitled dad, but entitled mom is on the aisle and I'm looking directly at her gabbing into her phone. I asked her twice to get off of her phone. Then she starts talking even louder, mocking me by saying, I have to get off my personal electronic device now. The waitress wants me off my personal electronic device. After calling the pilots, I let her know she needed to get off the phone now or take the next flight. She slammed it down in her lap and glared at me. We take off, she gets up immediately to get her purse or whatever. I make the seatbelt reminder announcement as I'm supposed to do. She starts moving other people's hand luggage around so she can move all of the other stuff up front. I tell her to stop. Pushback occurs. If she wants to be up when the seatbelt sign is on and hurt herself, so be it. The rule is so you don't hurt other people as well. I get the beverage cart out, and as I push it into the aisle and park it next to their seats, she opens the tray table and starts changing her baby on the tray table. People eat off of that. Come on. That is so unsanitary for the whole cabin, and right next to the cart. I politely informed her that since the seatbelt sign was now off, she needed to change her kid in the lav in the back. I would gladly pull the cart back so she could return to her seat when finished. No, she didn't like that. She was up front, it was her seat, and she would change her baby on the tray table, thank you very much. She would not be changing her baby in a dirty bathroom. F everyone else. Entitled dad starts mocking me and telling me they will do whatever they want with their baby. I'll bet you don't have kids. Well, I call the flight deck to give them updates because these people are refusing to follow my instructions and are being downright hostile. Once entitled mom is finished, I hurry up to complete a service. I don't think this flight was anything longer than 50 minutes. Repeated dinging throughout the service. Well, when you ding repeatedly, I think there is something wrong. So I rush back to angry entitled dad and entitled mom. They thrust the disgusting diaper at me, start berating me about not coming sooner, how lazy I am, etc., and demand I take the diaper. Look, you a-holes. I'm not taking your poopy diaper with my bare hands in the middle of serving other people drinks. I'm not taking that poopy diaper ever. You can put it in an airsick bag, hang on to it, and dispose of it in the lav. I'll even pull the cart back so you can do it. They are irate. It's just baby poo. For whatever reason, this is a popular response. It's just pee, or it's just a baby. It's human waste. Also, no, you can't throw it out in the galley trash up front. Diapers do not get disposed of in food service areas. Service continues, and I can hear them complaining at least 3/4 of the way back in the cabin. After finishing and cleaning up, I had it with the insults and the refusal to listen to me. I go back out and the diaper is disposed of in the middle of the aisle. In the nicest way possible, I informed them I was done with it. I outlined the FARs they had violated, why they were being rude, why it was a disservice to the other passengers, and let them know I was having a supervisor meet the plane if I had to talk to them again. We start our descent. Entitled Dad and Entitled Mom have switched places. Now Entitled Dad is yakking away on his headset. I have to tell him repeatedly to get off the phone. Of course he fights me and tells me I'm rude, but eventually complies. I have legitimately had it. I finally read the passenger manifest to see if these people have any status or anything. To my horror and satisfaction, I discover these two dicks and their poor kid are non-revenue passengers. They didn't even pay for their tickets. They are either the employees or traveling on a friend's pass. Oh my god. When you are a non-rev, you're lucky if you even get seats sometimes. You take what you get, sit down, and zip it. You don't demand revenue passengers move so you can have the more desirable seats for any reason. You politely ask, then offer to take the less desirable seats. You don't argue, act trashy, disagree with crew members, and act like completely entitled jerks. You want to do that? Buy a ticket. I still won't put up with it, but I wouldn't have been as shocked. We land, get to the gate, and Entitled Mom and Entitled Dad block the aisle so they can gather all of their things, loudly complaining about how difficult it is to travel with a kid and missing their next flight, then rush off the flight and drop a bag of trash at my feet as they leave. I didn't bother saying anything. I didn't want them to even get a chance to respond. Following the flight, I talked to the gate agent about what happened. We confirmed their original seats, and the agent said she would submit a report. I submitted an incident report on my end about their appalling behavior. This is how you lose your pass privileges, people. People lose them for much, much less. I have no way of knowing what eventually happened, but I was contacted for a follow-up and assured it was being handled. Oh man, this flight attendant was way too kind. She was way more kind than she should have been. Honestly, these people should have been kicked off the flight before it left the gate. I also genuinely hope that these were two employees flying on their own passes, because if they were, say, flying on a friend's pass who happened to be an employee, they ruined it for him or her. They ruined their flight privileges because they couldn't control themselves on a 50-minute flight. Unbelievable. Thank you to everyone who watched this video. Be sure to subscribe for more daily Reddit content. Drop a like if you liked the video, and I will see you all tomorrow.